Take a look at this car. Does it look perfect to you? Well, it might from 10 feet away, especially on camera, but in reality, it's got bumps and bruises all over it. There's a reason why I focus on making it look awesome without fixing every single flaw. And that's because if it's perfect, I won't want to drive it. It's called the perfection trap, and it's an unattainable goal that keeps us from enjoying our cars to the fullest. But there's more to it than that. There's actually 4 ways that perfectionism sucks the fun out of being a car enthusiast. Number 1, perfect is impossible. Many of us will scroll through social media and YouTube and see cars that appear to be flawless. It leads us to believe that the bar is set pretty darn high. And the truth is, most of these cars aren't actually perfect in real life. Heck, some of them are far from it. But just like the camera adds 10 pounds to humans, it also removes imperfections from cars. Unless you have a museum car, perfection is impossible. When cars get driven, they get dirty and scratched and dented and chipped. It's just a matter of time before it happens. And even when people decide to spend thousands of dollars on a professional paint correction, the results are very rarely an actual 100% correction. The first 90% is actually fairly easy. That final 10% towards perfection is what takes forever and even risks creating new damage on its own, but more on that in a minute. Number 2, the perfect product doesn't exist. When I was a kid, my parents used to take me to the store to pick out a new Hot Wheels car as a treat or a reward for something like, I don't know, not peeing my pants for once. Hooray, you're finally normal. But every time I stared down the aisle with all the cars to choose from, the same problem kept occurring. I couldn't pick one. You see, choosing one meant forfeiting like 99 other cars. So I stood there, frozen in fear of making the wrong choice. Well, sometimes detailing enthusiasts run into the same problem. They get so caught up in searching for the best soap or ceramic coating that they end up just getting stuck. If I just find the perfect product or the perfect equipment or the perfect garage, then I can get the job done. Here's the thing. Detailing companies have 2 goals. Number 1, make you think that perfection is possible. Number 2, convince you that their product is the magic bullet that you need. The truth is, most popular detailing products work pretty well. Waiting to discover the perfect one is just a waste of time. Find one that does the job well and enjoy the results as soon as possible. I think some of my other videos have proven that you don't need a fancy shop with a lift and thousands of dollars of products in order to make a car look amazing. A basic home garage like this is more than enough to be able to do some pretty incredible work. You just gotta put the work in. Number 3, chasing perfection can actually cause damage. Your car doesn't have to be perfect in order to look amazing. Larry from Ammo NYC once said that being a good detailer means knowing what not to do. Being stubborn and trying to polish out a really deep scratch can actually destroy your paint job. The clear coat on an average modern vehicle is typically between 25 to 35 microns thick, or roughly half the thickness of a sheet of copy paper. Yeah. Once it's gone, it's gone. So while you might be tempted to remove every single scratch and swirl mark, the reality is sometimes you're better off just leaving them alone or minimizing them. Jason Kilmer is a well-respected paint correction expert, particularly when it comes to wet sanding. The dude has worked on tons of award-winning cars. They even call him the Sandman. But he often says that you should sand to improve, not remove. Sometimes just rounding the edges off of a deep scratch is the best course of action. That way the light doesn't catch it as much to make it noticeable to your eye, but you still retain as much clear coat as possible. That same advice can apply to other aspects of detailing as well, like removing a stain from your interior. If you push too hard, you risk damaging the surface. I wrote an article about this a few years ago, and if you're one of the 10 people on the internet that still likes to read things, feel free to go check it out. Number 4, if it's perfect, you'll be afraid to drive it. This is the birthday cake that my awesome wife baked for me last week. It looked incredible, and my first instinct was, it would be a shame to ruin it, so I didn't want to cut a slice off. But that was the wrong way of thinking. The cake was literally made to be eaten and enjoyed, not saved until it goes stale and then is no longer edible. Our cars are machines that were meant to be driven, and when we fail to do so, they start to leak oil, they get flat spots in the tires, the battery dies. But perhaps worst of all, we miss out on the enjoyment. Now, I could fix the damage on my front lip, but guess what? It's probably just going to scrape again when I drive it. Sure, someday I'll probably end up painting it, but for now, I just touch it up to make it look better and then get back out there. There's some psychology behind this whole concept. It's all about loss aversion. Our brains are wired to hate losing more than we enjoy gaining. The potential of damage feels worse than the pleasure of actually using the car, so we just avoid driving it. They say the first scratch on a brand new car hurts the worst, but why is that? Well, it's kind of like a tiny ketchup stain on a white shirt. The more flawless the rest of it is, the more we notice that one scratch or that one ketchup stain. Perfection is fragile. You see, a perfect item only has one direction to go, down. Every scratch or dent feels like a mistake or a failure, so it creates anxiety in us. That anxiety often leads to inaction, so we lock our cars away in the garage instead of driving and enjoying them. If we don't drive them, they'll never get damaged and we'll never feel disappointed. But when you're on your last lap around this earth and you're looking back at the life that you've lived, will you be grateful for all the times that you didn't drive your car? Or will you regret not creating memories with it? The truth is, we're not really car owners in the grand scheme of things. We're simply caretakers of them. When our time is up, someone else is going to get our cars. Now what if they decide to drive it and enjoy it from day one? All of your effort to keep it perfect will have gone to waste anyways, so why not allow yourself to have some of that enjoyment? Something to think about. Imperfection adds character to a car. Guys like Magnus Walker have taught us that imperfect can actually be pretty cool in its own way. The Porsche community used to be filled with nothing but purists and collectors, but he carved out his own little niche with his driver's cars and inspired us to allow our cars to have character. Wear and tear on a vehicle just shows that it has a story to tell. And for some of us, that's even more interesting than seeing a car that has zero flaws. So maybe we shouldn't chase perfection. Maybe we should chase character. Now for the escape plan. How do we get free from the trap, or better yet, never enter it in the first place? This is Vin. Ever since leaving Hoonigan, he's built his own brand based on driving your car and enjoying it. Collect miles, not dust. That's kind of his whole thing. This is Matt. Due to some medical reasons, he can't really drive his cars these days. So he focuses, or some might say obsesses, over trying to achieve perfection in every aspect. The house, the garage, the cars themselves. It's a never-ending chase, but it seems to make him happy. By the way, both of them have YouTube channels that are totally worth watching, so check them out if you haven't already. These guys are kind of polar opposites, and we have the opportunity to decide which type of car enthusiast resonates with us more. Which way of life will make you happier? For me, I'm kind of in the middle. My passion for detailing makes me want to chase perfection to a certain extent, but then I get to the point where I say enough is enough and I just want to get out and drive. I'll use detailing techniques to improve things as much as possible, but then that's kind of where I draw the line. That way my vehicles aren't abused or neglected, but I also don't have a panic attack whenever I hear a stone hit the front bumper on the highway. And that's where the 2-foot rule comes in. I just made that up. Most of us have heard of a car that's considered a 10-footer. As in, the car looks great as long as you stand at least 10 feet away. But I think we can do better. What if we aim to make our cars 2-footers? Your car doesn't have to be perfect to look amazing. Heck, even aiming for 80% perfection will make your car stand out from the crowd in a big way. That's why I'm a big advocate for what people would consider preservation detailing. Make the car look amazing, but keep it honest and as original as possible. If you want to make your car look amazing and you're not sure where to start, chances are it could benefit from a good deep cleaning first. So watch this video next for tips on how to do exactly that.